7 o'clock. Welcome everyone.
Hang on a minute. You live, Bridget? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Welcome everyone to the meeting. This meeting is being recorded for your information. My name is Rick Green, Chairman of the Concom. Mark?
Mark Kresge, clerk.
Tony Capolo, member.
Tom Larson, member.
Rich Cloutier, member.
Brian Larshall, member.
All right. First item on the agenda is minutes approval for last meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those minutes? Any questions or comments?
You all set, Tony?
I make a motion to accept the meeting, the minutes as read.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was nice, Mark, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like they just, they copied it from the website and, probably an extraneous listing, but, you're the only one.
That's fine, that's fine. I just wanted to verify, so that way
Yep.
I know I can't trust them anymore. Thank you.
All right, next item is old business. We have a continuation, notice of intent. To continue the hearing for notice of intent for construction of a new family house on parcel 3-143 Birches Road. So, entertain a motion to, open a public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Reopen the public hearing. Second, all in favor? Okay, so this is for continuation of the notice of intent hearing for a single family, as we said, on 43 Birches Road. The applicant has requested this hearing be continued to tonight's meeting. Is there any more?
No, to the next meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, July.
Can you continue again?
Oh, okay, July. Yeah, we're not, thank God it's not July. Time's going by fast, but.
I make a motion, we close this hearing.
Okay.
Continue it.
Continue it.
To July 11th.
All right.
Continue it.
All in favor of continuing until July?
Aye.
Aye. And the same thing for the next public hearing, which is also July. We'll motion for that to continue the hearing.
Make a motion.
Second, all in favor? Okay, good. The next item is site inspection request for 8 Malone Road. Discussion of field observations and what should happen next, I guess.
So I should probably, did people read the email exchange that went back and forth between me and Mark Popham on this? Basically, Rick and Brian visited the site. Actually, you
I,
were
the
part of that
second
too.
time around, I,
Does one of you want to describe the results of your initial visit?
Okay,
Yeah, so, I guess the first thing to note was there was no stakes that really delineated where, there might have been some where the driveway was, just kinda at the road frontage, but there was no stakes for the septic system and the house and things like that, so it was a little unclear about where those were actually proposed. But we were able to kind of paste things off and kind of generally locate where we thought they might be based on the plan. And the septic system is pretty close to this kind of drainage that kind of the field up behind, across the road, kind of drains and kind of makes its way across the road and kind of there's like a channel, and it eventually feeds a wetland that's kind of towards the rear of the lot. And we had some questions about how far that wetland kind of extends up into the property, and it's, how close it was to the proposed septic. So that we felt that a filing would be required.
So I sent that message out to the builder, owner, and Mark Popham, and the response that came back from Mark Popham was basically, nah. I didn't see any wetland soils out there.
It wasn't a matter so much of wetland soils. Well, I'll even disagree on there being wetland soils, but you certainly could see just by looking at the site that the growth of the trees that were there was very compromised. You could see that water had been flowing over that forever. I just couldn't see where you could ever put a septic system in there and have it work properly. So, I would certainly vote no on it, if it comes up.
Yeah, well,
the
we don't
way
have,
it's-
we
the
don't
way
have
it
anything,
stands.
we don't have anything to vote on at the moment, but
No,
that's the question
but-
of where do we go from here?
Well, will there be a RDA sent in, or is that?
His response
he said
was
no.
basically declining to.
No.
So he's not gonna get a building permit.
Well, that would be the next thing that would happen. There has been no building permit filed for the lot yet.
Okay.
When the building permit is filed, Concom is one of the sign-offs. So you can decline to sign off at that point. I'm not sure exactly what happens from there.
It hasn't been delineated at this point, has it?
No.
Okay, so we would force the delineation on it, and then if whoever the wetland scientist says it's okay, then we have a right to bring in our own to look at it, which will be charged back to him. And the way I feel about it, I would look to have the delineator come in and look at it. I feel that strongly about it.
So if they get someone in to delineate, then you can take a look at, see if you agree with what they say.
What they
or-
say, if I disagree, then we can request a delineator of our own, and
Yeah, we've
they're
done that
subject to the
before,
charge,
yeah.
yes, we are.
So to play devil's advocate here, you accepted Mark Popham's delineations over on Birches Road. What position are you gonna adopt here?
Well,
He presented his credentials as being an environmental scientist, I think was
Yeah,
the
right.
words he used.
Well, I mean, if he's standing on that and he's an environmental scientist and he's delineated it, then I would tell him that, as far as I'm concerned, that we want to have it delineated on our own.
was there not some wetlands
Before we go
flagging
to that
indicated in the
step,
back of
is
this
it
lot?
worth
No, there was no wetlands at all,
meeting
not-
him
not-
on site?
Oh, of course it is.
Maybe we request that we'd like to meet him on site and walk it with
Yeah.
him,
Absolutely.
and start with that.
Yeah. Send an-
Definitely the way to go.
Send an email out to that effect and
Yeah.
see what kind of response we get back.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, Mike.
plus,
Well, I'll let the chair make his comments.
before we, it's kind of necessary that the site is flagged also, so we don't wander around trying to, guess where this house is going and that sort of thing. That's the least they could do. It doesn't take that long to, make it obvious to those people that might have to go out.
Yeah.
Rick, you got a question?
Okay.
Go back.
A comment.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, I totally concur, because I think we heard earlier that it wasn't staked, and having been to a number of these meetings, I believe that that is a requirement that you've consistently made, so that you don't wander around and
Right,
waste
yes,
time.
People wave their hands, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, well, let's,
If it is the state, we're not even supposed to go out and look at it.
Right, thank you.
thanks, Mike. Okay, so that's it for today, for right now on this item, yes. New business. We have a public hearing. I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing tonight.
Make a motion.
Only second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. The Hubbardson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, reviewing a notice of intent for work to be performed in the buffer zone to a wetland resource area. The work involves construction of a driveway and new single-family home with septic system and well on parcel 3-101 on, which is represented as 7 Morgan Road. Plans are available for review in PDF format by email, etc. All right, so, yes.
I'm Seth LaJoy.
Okay.
I put the plan together. I'm representing Nick Callow, who's here,
Okay.
present. And I think that that's a pretty good summary of the plan. I don't have the plan in front of me. Could you throw that thing out? Thank you, sir. So this is, this is a 2-pager because it's a large piece. Coming in off of Morgan Road here, there's a wetland to the west, there's a wetland to the east. We're basically keeping that proposed driveway, it's splitting the difference. But when you go out there, there's a very obvious ridge. It's, you know, and if you guys are gonna go out there and walk this or whatever, I have no problem with it. I didn't stake any of this in the field, but I would get out there prior to you guys getting out there so that we could stake the center of this and at least the septic area.
You wanna look at this?
So, right, so coming into the site here, this wetland keeps going this way. This is just kind of like a little, almost, I wanna say that's an isolated patch right there. We're keeping everything outside of the 100-foot buffer zone in terms of the house, the septic, and the well. The access is really what we're requesting. You know, we're gonna have to take trees down and stuff in this area in order to access the upland in the back of the property. This is something that Mr. Callow wanted to add on. He doesn't know if he's gonna be doing it right away, but we wanted to be upfront and show that was gonna be on, that's also what he's planning on doing at some point in the future, if not when he constructs the houses, to have that proposed barn, garage, workshop type of thing. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
What do you have for erosion controls? I see
State straw wattles, 8-inch or 12-inch.
And is that represented by the dotted line?
This is the erosion control on both sides here. So there's, might be a little bit of grading for the septic. The math works out so that it's outside that 100-foot, but just to be sure, I wanted to make sure that we had some erosion control there so that it's not coming towards this resource area here.
Does this border on a stream or something? I'm not super familiar with the site. Does anyone?
I didn't walk in on this. It might be somewhat channelized through here, but it's not a stream. It's definitely, it's a pretty extensive wetland area.
Yeah, this whole area is low and there's big rock piles up here, as I recall.
There's gonna be some rocks. There's gonna be some potatoes that they're hitting up there, no
Quarter
doubt,
of the
man.
all the rocks in
Yeah.
Hubbardston are right over there,
Uh-huh.
behind the house.
He's gonna have a stone house. Build a stone house on that.
Is that the property right behind the red barn?
Yeah.
Hey, it perked.
I have looked at that property, I think, 4 times. I mean, I'm not gonna say you can't build on it, I just don't know how you're gonna build
It's gonna be, it's good. You get a big enough machine in there, you can.
I'll say.
You can do it, you know? Yeah, there's no doubt that they're gonna be hitting some, I don't know, I don't necessarily think that that's ledge, but it.
No,
they're
no,
gonna
it's
be
boulders.
they're gonna be pulling that apart, that hillside apart, definitely.
That's where the glazier came and left everything.
That was nice of it.
Tony was there to see.
I think I was.
He was a little boy.
4 times.
Yeah, I don't know where there's a lot of water along the railroad tracks and up, going down towards Ben's Pond.
And there's a
yes.
gully
Yeah.
right in the road, just getting into the property.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's definitely, there's a swale along the.
Oh, yeah.
Along here, so we're proposing to put a 12-inch pipe in there just because I mean, it's not a very big swale, but it's.
Well, but I've seen that swale that deep with water.
Okay.
That I don't even know if a 12-inch pipe would handle it
Right.
from time to time. That's a horrible piece of property.
What do you get to say? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Nick. It's a beautiful
It was
spot.
on the market for
Well,
about a year.
you know,
So now that makes sense.
Don't get me wrong. Once you're on it, you have a house, it's a beautiful piece of property, but to work.
No,
terrible.
yeah, it's a tough lot.
piece of
It's a tough
property.
lot.
Um,
Yeah. Boulder farming for a while.
And you can't sell the rocks. We
Big
won't-
rocks.
We won't let you sell the big rocks, so.
Why, you guys wanna keep them for yourselves?
No, the town won't let you sell rocks, the landscape rocks and stuff.
They just don't wanna keep
Can't
them
take 'em out of town.
Yeah, all right. Could he, and I'm just asking a question here, I don't know if anybody is planning this or not, but like with rocks like that on site, could they bring a crushing plant in there to put base down for the?
I don't know the answers to that.
If it's gonna stay on site?
I don't.
I'm just
I
asking,
don't-
because I don't wanna
Yeah.
get, you know.
I don't know.
doesn't
You'd have to talk with Mark and he'd find out for you.
Right.
I don't have a glimmer about that, but.
I don't. This is.
I'm not saying that
this-
they're gonna do that, I'm just saying that, like, if it were if it were me, I might.
The only thing I can see on that is, if it's not gonna go off site, then there'd be no problem
Right.
for selling it. The only thing might be, noise constraint
Right.
on.
This is America. You know, if you have a rock and you want to make 2 rocks out of 1 rock, who's to say? It hasn't got to that yet. You know,
Close,
maybe in the
it's
next
close.
few years it'll get to that. But right now it's okay.
Right now, it's okay.
It's right now, it's
Right this
okay.
second, it's okay.
As long as you do it with electric powered hammers.
Yeah, how about you do it with an
As long as
electric
there's
power?
no impact, we'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, you know, my contention is that electricity has to be produced somewhere.
do it.
You know, like, I'm just saying.
I do it. It is funny.
Okay, do you guys wanna take a walk and?
Tony, that's
Verify
one.
that.
One
you
more
know.
time, sure. I'd be more than happy to.
This road, you already have this kind of a road out there for logging. Is that the same about where it
It's
is?
kind of, yeah, I mean, they accessed with a machine to get out here to do this testing, and this area is fairly well, it's not graded, but you can see that they push stuff around, and
There was a machine,
there was a machine
in there once, yeah.
There was a
maybe-
machine in there moving stuff
Maybe
around.
5 years ago,
Right, well,
somebody
when was the
who
testing done? I didn't do the testing, but the testing was done in 2020, so it was done
Okay.
23 years ago.
Yeah, and then recently logged right up through.
But, I mean, when would you guys be wanting to go out there to look at this so that I can get ahead of this and get out there and stake it, you know?
Well, we could probably do something next week,
Okay,
you know.
so if I get out there on Tuesday, would that be okay for you guys?
Sure,
All right,
so,
all right. Very good.
Sure, that's fine.
I mean, I don't think that, I mean, I don't know that we wouldn't say no, but I don't think we'd end up saying no to building there. It's just the difficulty of it, that's all.
Oh, no.
I mean, the times I looked at it, I never said no to building. I just said, wow.
Well, it's kind of hard to find a dry spot, you know.
Well, there's lots of dry spots up in there, and high and dry, but it's so many
You gotta move a lot of, you gotta move a lot of earth.
You gotta move some
Yeah.
earth and some big stuff.
But I mean, that's also kind of why I'm having I've got the erosion controls shown a little bit wider than because,
Yeah.
you know, I know that they're gonna be hitting some boulders, they're gonna be moving some trees, they're gonna be, I mean, there's work to be done here, that they're gonna need some space
Yeah.
coming in there, so I didn't wanna
Yeah, it's getting
I don't
into
wanna
the
bullshit you
property
guys.
where the
I mean,
difficulty is
I
gonna
would,
be.
not saying I wouldn't bullshit you, I'm just not bullshitting you on this.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, no problem.
Well, that's good.
We'll remember that next time. All right, so what do we want to do? Continue this hearing? Is that what we opened up a hearing?
Yeah, I guess we should, go do a site visit and we can schedule something potentially for next week. Is anyone interested in going to a site visit?
I want to see this impressive property.
It is very impressive.
It's a
Would you-
beautiful
Would you be
spot, it
able
really
to go
is.
with Brian on this?
If we did it on Friday, I'd be able to do it, or after 4 o'clock, either way.
Yeah, it'd have to be at 4.
After 4, okay. Whatever day's good for you.
I'll talk to you.
And I don't know if.
No, I don't necessarily have to
I
go
know you've
again.
been out there, we were out there,
I
a
mean,
couple years ago, you
yeah.
and I, yeah. Okay.
Like I say, I was out 3 times before that for potential buyers, of the property. I looked at it.
So you said Tuesday you'd have it staked?
Yep,
Okay, so
So anytime after that?
Tuesday morning, I'll be out there.
And the wetlands are already flagged?
Yes.
It's just,
Alright, so the wetlands are flagged here, as shown,
Yep.
and, do we have any other questions ahead of time for this guy?
Which end of the property is it that you're building, contemplating building, closer to Route 68 and, or further down?
I mean, we're in about, what, 400 or 500 feet, and we're pushing it more towards the
West, the west.
easterly. This is north, yeah, so this is the east,
Oh, wow.
easterly
It's not a
property.
Mark Popham plan?
This is,
so like in
this is Morgan Road,
You're
right
going
here.
away from 68, or you're going, you're
68's
close, over here,
over
and you're
here.
going,
Well,
on
okay,
the
I'm
property,
sorry.
you're going further in?
So we're talking about the other side of the road, Tony. We're talking about the south side of the road, Morgan Road. 'Cause
No,
it's-
that's the north side of Morgan Road.
I mean, the north side of Morgan Road, excuse me. I think you might be thinking of the south side where all the boulders are behind the red barn.
Oh, it is.
Oh, that's what I asked, was
No.
it that property
There's boulders
behind?
here too.
No, this is on the, on the,
Oh,
on the
okay.
north side.
I take back all the bad stuff.
It was still on the market for years.
This- I'm looking at this like
Oh, all right,
this is, like
now-
this is,
Rick, this is
Okay,
next to Diane
sorry.
Laney's house?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a house like right about
Actually,
here.
this-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Diane Laney's.
Okay.
I feel better for you already.
This thing always messes me up. I'm looking at this thinking that's the south side and this is Morgan Road and it's 68.
Yeah, cause at
That's
first
not
I
really
thought
true.
you guys were talking about where they logged off over there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what he was thinking.
The logging, you know, that's the
Yeah,
other
So there's
side.
the
that's the
opposite
opposite
side.
side.
Yeah, that
Okay.
stuff happened after I purchased the property.
Yeah.
Right across the street, of course.
Okay, I guess. I
So, yeah,
should review
so what
this
I'll do
first.
is I'll get in here, I'll put a stake here, I'll put a couple of stakes coming up here on the pivot points, and then I'll come out here in 4 corners of the septic system and maybe 4 corners of the house.
Yep.
Does that work for you guys?
Yep.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
bother
that's
laying this out, but I'll
that's
I'll
fine.
probably
Yeah, that's-
lay the well out just so that they
Yeah.
know, just so I don't
Yeah.
have to come back and do it again,
Yep, okay.
alright?
Yep.
And these benchmarks are very easy to see. They're mag nails that are hammered straight down in roots, and they've got pink flagging on them, so they'll give you something to go off of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good.
Alright, that's good. This is no more information. I entertain a motion. We continue the hearing until
I'll make a
next
motion.
month. Second? All in favor? Good.
Alright, very good. Thank you for your time this evening.
Alright, welcome.
Yeah, good.
Grab these.
Oh, ramp, yeah.
Big one. Sorry I frightened you guys.
That's all right. It's all right. There are a lot of boulders in this
That's funny.
I just feel bad for anybody who identified that on a piece of property.
Because, you know, there's been logging out there and it looks like a house site and so on,
Yeah.
that somebody's gonna do building on. Okay, now the next item is correspondence to Lovewell Pond Sportsman Club. Request for interim approval on aquatic vegetation treatment program.
I am Pete Russell,
In full disclosure, I'm a member of the Hubbardston Planning Board as an alternate member. I am not here representing the planning board in any way. I'm here representing the Lovewell Pond Sporting Club, not Sportsman's Club, Sporting Club Incorporated, from Hubbardston. I'm the president for the last 15 or so years, and we're seeking your permission to proceed with our weed treatment program with Solitude Lake Management on the condition that Solitude submits a new notice of intent application before a week from now or so. I think it originally I had asked for by July 1st, and if I'm not mistaken, Mark, Solitude has chimed in and said that they can get it here earlier than July 1st. The application is for the same treatment essentially that we've done historically. We treat submersed weeds sometime before the 4th of July, usually in last week of June. And then there's a second treatment for surface lilies and aquatic surface plants that happens typically in late August or September. The permits that we currently have apparently have expired late last year, and Solitude neglected to apply prior to us having a wake-up call about 3 weeks ago. And so rather than missing this year's treatment, we're asking to allow us to go forward with the same program that we've always done. Well, not always, but historically, recently. And under the Solitude will be doing it, and it'll be done probably by the end of June, the week before the 4th of July, the submersed species plants. Now, in addition, the notice of intent that's going to be submitted by Solitude will include not only these 2 treatments I spoke of, but it's our pond management plan. So there'll be additional information in the notice of intent that talks about Lovewell Pond Sporting Club's work that we traditionally may have to perform, such as our annual drawdown in November, and other work on our dams such as mowing, pothole filling, and keeping the dam clear of any vegetation 30 feet away from the toe of the dam. That's all pursuant to our dam safety inspections that we have done every 10 years for DCR, and our engineer tells us to do that, so we do it. And you know, it's an old dam. The dam was built in the 1890s. It's an earth dam, stone, riprap, and the spillway's fragile, so we really need to do that drawdown to, number one, keep the ice off the dam as much as we can in the winter months, but also it aids in weed mitigation, and because it's a shallow pond. Our mean depth is only about 8 or 9 feet, and along the shoreline in front of the residential areas, you know, it's no deeper than 6 feet probably. So taking that pond down in the fall really exposes the lake bed for a good, in some areas, 50 feet out. And we do it over a month, or at least a month, maybe 45 days, with our gate valve that we have to control the dam, control the pond depth. And we with that thing wide open, we can get about 1 inch a day. And that allows time for aquatic fish and other reptilians and other types of animals to retreat into the deeper water slowly. Let me see what else I'm thinking about. Just want to make sure that, you know, I talk about, you see this in the NOI. So tonight I'm here asking really to let us do the weed treatment later this month. And you'll see that NOI in the next week, and while it's being processed, and I'll be back again to talk to you about that in more detail, but I just wanted to give you a broad overview that we're not just doing an NOI for weed treatment, okay? So I'm asking if we could get a letter from the Concom, because Solitude won't proceed without a written authorization to do so. And I'm happy to ask or answer any questions if have any.
What's the treatment method for the weeds? Is it like a chemical or is it mechanical, like pulling?
The NOI will request that we can do either mechanical or, but the intent and what we've been doing, because there's so many rocks in the pond, is not to do mechanical, except maybe around people's docks and stuff, but this is a chemical treatment. They bring in a fan boat with a pump on it, and it disperses it's not a spray, it's underwater, and it kills any kind of bladderwort, milfoil type underwater plants that are nuisance oriented.
The permits will be in effect by the time you do this.
I don't think so. That's exactly the question.
Yeah, the order.
Well,
The or- that's-
do we have the right to say
Probably.
yes?
Probably based on historical.
Okay,
I would
I
say-
mean, that would be my only question
You know.
on it. Do we have the right to say yes? If we do, I'm certainly not against it.
I'll back everything he said, because he's come to, when I was on the Board of Health, we'd come to the Board of Health and we'd go through that same routine, so what he's saying is truthful as far as, I know that's happened for years,
Right.
and that's a common practice, so they're not trying to do anything.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
nothing
They
new,
haven't
there's
done.
nothing new here at all. In fact, the same products that they're gonna utilize, Solitude, are the same products that they've used historically in our old NOI and order conditions, and it's the same chemical that they use in Quabbin and other drink. In fact, our pond is part of the Ware River watershed. So, you know, we're in with Natural Heritage and DCR and everybody involved in that world as well, because it eventually goes down into Brigham and into the Ware and blah, 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 downstream.
That's amazing.
It is, it's, we're the headwaters, you know.
I know, I know,
It's really
amazing.
the.
You could do
we're-
something like that. It's-
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I've seen the drawdown several
Anything you wanna
times
add?
because of problems with neighbors and so on and so forth.
No, I think you have a approved amended variance for this treatment. I think it was amended back in 21.
yeah, we have a variance from DCR. You know, I attended a meeting in Ware at the Windsor Dam over there, and Solitude was there with myself and another officer from Level Pond Sporting Club, and we were granted a variance to perform this work, specifically the chemical treatment work. In addition, we've received approval from Natural Heritage, and why are they involved? Because there was the claim that there was a rare weed in the pond at one point, and so for a number of years, at least a decade, we were insistent that, you know, no one knew what this was, and it was supposedly discovered by some students that were allowed onto the pond, and they identified or misidentified, whatever the case may be, but it was reported as an Spotomegaean confroidi, and that weed is on the rare list. And because they say it was in our pond, we were disallowed from using any chemical treatment for years. And but we were losing the pond, so we persisted, and we, with the guidance of Natural Heritage, we hired a botanist, a guy named Matthew Hickler, and Mr. Hickler performed at least 4 weed surveys. I mean, these are 8-hour surveys in a glass bottom boat, and pulled up every single thing, and he couldn't find it. But we needed to prove to Natural Heritage, by performing these surveys at a price to Mr. Hickler every other year for 3 non-consecutive times. So year 1, year 3, year 5. But it took a year and a half to get to year 1, and then another year and a half after year 5 for them to approve it. So they haven't actually declared that the weed is extinct in our pond, but I'll bet you $1 now that we've treated multiple times for submerged species, it is. So, but that permit is still good anyway. That permit is good until I think the end of 23, perhaps. No, I'm talking 25. It was a 5-year permit when we got that. And so our variance with DCR is in order. Our paperwork with Natural Heritage is in order. it's our notice of intent that expired, and I'm saying it publicly, Solitude dropped the ball on that for us. We hire them to keep our permits in order, and we alerted them last year after our September annual meeting to get our NOI in. And a change of people, it was discovered this spring that it wasn't done, and now we're in here saying, are we gonna miss a cycle and perhaps get that infestation back? Now, let me also add that they performed a pre-treatment survey last week. Solitude went onto the pond and spent about 4 hours there with a rake that they throw a rope in and pull a thing. And they found only a small area, I'd say about an acre out of our 100-acre lake that had submerged pondweeds. They found several areas of lilies, but the submerged pondweeds were very, very sparse, which is encouraging to me. And so, despite the fact that I'm asking you to give us permission tonight to do this treatment, there's a chance we may not do it because it's gonna cost us $3 or $4 grand to do it. And if it's a small area and where it is, where they mapped it out, we might just say, skip that one for us. But I'm not prepared to do that right now, to say we're not gonna do it. I have to get a meeting of my group and decide that if we wanna do it or not. But we wanna be prepared to do it.
Well, I make a motion, we write a letter of approval and citing the last NOI as far as the
Yeah.
the
Well,
methods.
you
methodology.
asked me to draft some language,
Yeah.
which was in the meeting materials. But I'll read off the draft language
Okay.
here. To the Lovewell Pond Sporting Club.
Yeah, yeah.
I got it right in the letter, just not in the agenda.
We have women in our club too.
Ah.
Are they sports?
They fish, they canoe.
Be
Good sports.
nice.
They're good sports.
Good sports, good.
For the most part.
Awful easy to get in trouble too.
Dear
Yeah,
Mr.
be careful and be nice.
Dear Mr. Russell, the Conservation Commission is in receipt of your request for permission to perform aquatic vegetation treatment programs on Lovewell Pond this summer. Since the previous order of conditions authorizing these treatments has expired, we have also received correspondence from Solitude Lake Management indicating that a new notice of intent will be submitted to the Conservation Commission by June 21st, 2023. Pending approval by the Conservation Commission, future lake treatments would be governed under this new order of conditions. Recognizing that the application review process for the new order of conditions will likely extend beyond the effective window for the desired treatment programs this summer, the Conservation Commission hereby issues our permission for the treatment programs to proceed as proposed under the same conditions imposed by the previous expired order of conditions. Please ensure that the application materials for a new notice of intent are submitted by 6/21/2023 as planned. Sincerely, Rick Green.
Works for me if it works for you.
Any comments or questions? Okay. Then make a motion, we proceed with the letter.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Scan that to Solitude. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I'll send it to Mary.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Have a nice night. Thank you too.
Any other business matters, either by the members or?
Only that we had decided to, make Mike an alternate member with the voting, rights. I don't know if he's even been made,
Yeah,
notified
I
of
can
this.
give an update on that.
Okay.
At the last meeting, I was going to circle back with Nate, town administrator, and see because what you decided at the last meeting was that you would like this alternate member to have contingent voting privileges if necessary to make up a quorum at a meeting. So it's gonna need to go before the select board. It's still drifting out there. Not surprising, leading into his wedding and town meeting. Nate wasn't able to put together the details of how that submittal needs to go, but
Okay.
we will
All right,
continue
so that's
working on that.
in the works.
Yep.
Good. Anything else from
Selfridge Road.
members? Selfridge
Getting
Road.
people asking about what's going on over there. I think we need to get a hold of the owner and see what's going on. Maybe do a site walk or something.
So
Are there wetlands out there? I don't even know the property.
that's a
I
good
think there's
question.
some streams back there, you know, on the
De-
property.
Depending where the work is being done,
Right.
there might be also DCR concerns. So I think we just need to know what's going on and where. Like, as far as, I got a call, someone mentioned to me they, in years prior, had tried to purchase the property and build on it, and they were told it's not a buildable lot.
There have been multiple
Yeah.
applications in the past.
Yeah, so I think just to do our due diligence, is there any concern that we have? They put no trespassing signs up, so it's probably best to start with a letter to the owner and just ask what's going on out there.
With,
There
Well,
I
is-
mean, what
there is-
part of the Concom's jurisdiction do we want to
Well, is there
receive
wetland, is there
information about?
wetland on
Yeah,
the property?
we don't know.
Yeah, we wanna know what their intent is or whatever,
Right, but.
cause I heard that they're clearing it. I mean, I haven't been
Well,
down there.
why don't we take a step backwards then? Why don't we look at that parcel and see if anything falls under conservation or DCR's jurisdiction on, but we don't know where they're working.
Right.
But we do know there are areas that do fall under DCR's jurisdiction,
Correct.
so.
There's a little on the eastern portion, and on DEP's wetland map, I did see like hydrological connections from other areas of that lot, so I don't know, that might be under your jurisdiction. Or it could be BVW associated with the map Wispa Stream on the abutting parcel, so.
What road is this on?
Selfbridge,
Off of
right,
Cruise.
off Cruise Road.
Oh,
That
okay.
little, used to go over to,
Flag.
the
Camp
campground.
over the flag.
Yeah, it was, I forget the exact date. It was discontinued at the end of the 1800s.
So I don't know what the proper procedure
Right,
to
it's
find
like-
that out is.
Yeah, I know.
Well, if you're looking at someone cutting timber, you better act fast, because they're in and out, and the timber's gone, and
Right.
so, whatever we're gonna do. I mean, is there such a thing as a phone call? Do we?
Do you guys,
I mean,
do you
like-
guys, do you guys have any direct jurisdiction over logging operations?
Like everything,
It's in a
like,
wetland.
Yeah, it's in the wetlands.
I don't know, that's a good question. If Rich is cutting trees in the back of his house, do we come down and say, what the heck are you doing back there in your property?
Yeah, well, it
You know?
depends on what you're cutting.
Yeah. So
I
it-
don't know.
I would think maybe a letter to them, just saying, we've had numerous, people that have concerns on what's going on there, and according to our maps, you could be in our jurisdiction, we're just making you aware that if you are, you have to notify us.
I guess that's
I don't know,
one thing we
something
could
like
do.
that.
I mean,
It's
that's
more
one
the
thing.
educational kind of side
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Just make them aware of
Yeah.
conservation
That's-
jurisdiction.
That's an approach, yeah.
So it's not, we're not coming down on them, just
Right,
making
yeah.
them aware of the rules.
All right, I'll talk to Duffy. I know need either.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road.
See,
Could
he's
someone
got,
just-
he's got the.
Could you just point out what property we're talking about, or properties?
72.
72, thank you.
Can we say that now that you're,
At least I assume that's what we're talking about.
So, yeah.
It's that one, okay.
Right at the end of the traveled way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So down here is the Canesto, far enough down.
Now, it may be fine, they might be out of everybody's jurisdiction, and we're okay with
You
that.
may be cutting some firewood, you know, what are you gonna do? I don't know.
So
Where is this? Where are we?
Right here, we'll get Selfridge
Okay.
and 7-2, and that's a
No, it
property
was-
that
it
actually
was
goes
brought to
across
us.
the road.
So,
Yes, it's another one.
Which is another
to
one.
do our
yeah.
due diligence, we have to at least
Right, I suppose
pass
we-
along the knowledge.
I can't
that-
ignore it.
Wow, you got Hubbardston down here, huh?
It stays here, I think I'm the only one that uses it.
Oh.
Wow.
I don't even, I never saw it before.
Yeah.
It's, I understand that it's, the assessors are responsible for that.
Right.
There's 2 copies there, one's missing sheet 6, so you gotta flip back and forth to find a complete set between 2 sets. So that's just, I learned that lesson by flipping through it.
Okay.
Alright, so,
I like that approach,
Yeah, I mean, it's
informational
something-
versus.
Yeah, I mean,
it's something.
I will draft something, send it to you, Rick, so it's the commission's wish that Rick can sign off on a letter like that,
Yep.
and we'll send it out before the next meeting.
I'll make a motion, they sends them a letter.
I don't know.
You know, on,
This is
on-
America.
on this timber cutting stuff,
Or,
I've lived,
or I can
I've
draft
lived
something and we can
through
talk
it.
about it in,
No.
Well, I've lived through these timber cutting deals where you go and you hear about it, and by the time you
Oh,
get
yeah.
there, there's 7 to 10, 15 acres have been
Oh,
cleared.
in a day or 2,
Yeah,
or 3.
and then what do you do?
Yeah, especially the equipment they got now.
Yeah.
Not like when you were out there on a chainsaw.
We had that down on
People's
Lombard
kid.
This, yeah.
The guy he was gonna put a pond in down in back. And he cleared, probably cleared 6, 7 acres in the wetland. And that was only maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Right. You talking about Pinecrest?
No, I'm talking down on Lombard Road on the
Lombard.
left-hand side.
Okay.
Oh, almost where the fire pond is?
I don't know if it's where the fire pond is. or
Wait,
not,
almost to the
but-
Princeton line? They got the horse farm?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a fire pond in
Yeah.
there. You put a fire pond in.
Okay.
So what could you do at that point? I mean, he had him in, they sold off all the stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, you even came down, I think, on that property with me. I'm pretty sure you did. I think that's probably when you first come on.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I'll draft something and we'll see
Yeah,
where that leads.
Okay. So we are interested because of potential problems with the wetlands, so we need to know. They should respond. I guess that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yeah, make them aware of, there are regulations.
Property I'm talking about, Scott Johnson, going back 8 years or so, owned it, and then, who bought it? It came up for auction, it's a yellow house out in front. I don't know, it was bought at auction, the house came up for auction, and whoever bought it, they're the ones that cleared everything down in back.
Okay. That sounds good, Mark. We could get them something out, and then at least they could take a break and respond. Or we'll send whatever, our heavily enforcing policing outfit to go down. To the search warrant, see what they're doing.
Administrative note?
Yes.
July meeting will be the second Tuesday, the 11th, unless you want to pick something different.
When is she
But-
supposed to swear us back in again? Was that after after July 1st, or, 'cause that's when it ends, right?
Yeah, you guys need to have a organizational
Yeah, 'cause he
meeting.
needs to be sworn in, and I need to be sworn back in again. 'Cause
Well-
mine's up, I believe.
Yeah, you'll have to swing by to see Candace sometime this month.
Okay.
Get sworn in, and then actually at the July 11th, or do you guys want to meet on the 11th? First Tuesday is July 4th.
Yeah, that'd be,
Yeah,
that'd be
11th is
silly. Before the fireworks.
We can start the fireworks off here.
Yes, we should, I vote for the 11th,
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
Um,
guess. Right.
So I guess presumably we have an organizational meeting at that point and elect a chair.
It's a Tuesday, right?
We could eliminate that and say Rick's doing such a good job.
Oh,
and
that's
just-
hogwash.
You're staying.
That's hogwash. Okay, anything else that anyone wants to talk about? Any public comments? Thank you for coming down tonight. You, it's nice to, always nice to see presence from, you
I'm
know,
glad I could come.
taking
Glad
time
I
off
made it.
from your schedule to take an interest in proceedings here.
Oh yeah, always.
Where do you live at? I forget.
In Amherst.
Amherst, God.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long drive.
That's fun. All right, good. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Okay.
Good. 7:52, under an hour.